Hi. So today we are doing the weekly psychic scan, psychic reading, whatever you want to call it. And one of the things I'm going to look at is just I'm going through emails, I see what people write, I pick up, and then let's look into what's going on with you. If you want that, just basically, if you want a psychic reading, write me an email, tell me like your name, if you would like your name to be mentioned on video, or if you would like some pseudonym, like I'm just going to be a flower, like whatever you want to be called. And then tell me your story. Tell me what kind of things have you experienced in life? What kind of issues do you have? What is it you want me to look into? The more specifics and details you have, the more I'll be able to find. Other than that, like that's about it. And me, I'm just like, I read an email, and it just pops up, and whatever I see, I just talk about it. So, anyway, whatever you get out of it, like, hopefully you'll get something out of it, but we'll see. Anyway, starting from Melina. Melina wrote, I was diagnosed with scoliosis after I did Ayahuasca in 2014 and had much interesting energetic feelings on my left side that felt like something was in me. I also did not purge when I did Ayahuasca and it stayed in me. I was the only one in my group that didn't purge and I haven't felt the same since. I was wondering if and what might have happened. Okay, so that being read, there's a lot of things. A lot of things as regards scoliosis and what has happened in your life. First, I just right away get some of the commands or things in your life, and at the same time I want to write it down for myself so that we could look deeper into that, but kind of like having to fit in. I'm just gonna write it down for myself. Having to fit in is one thing, like being put in a box, feeling stuck. Feeling stuck is one. Stuck in a loop or not being able to get out. Not being able to get out is one of the bigger ones. Can't come back. Like I can't come back, I can't go back. So it's going back, not being able to go back. Something like that. And it's also like hasn't been the same. That one thing you said, ever since then, you haven't felt the same. Like it's been different. Like I would explore that. These are like hypnotic commands, like having to fit in, feeling stuck, not being able to go back, can't go back, stuff like that. Even though it's like can't go back, it can be like a command where you're trying to go back home. You're trying to get to a certain place, but things happen and you can't go back there. You're stuck for now. It also has a double meaning. You're back. It can't go back. Your back is stuck in a certain place and it can't go back in the way it's supposed to be. So these works like hypnotic commands and whatever you have experienced in past lives, like we can look deeper into those. But it's gonna be one of the things that hold you there. Another thing, it's more like I don't know, like astral implant, or just like sort of like trying to focus on you. But it's some sort of an implant. I don't know if it's energetic, astral, but I'm looking if it's your own doing, like self-sabotage or your own behavior. And seems like it's like I'm just like trying to explore like this is like a very broad item, having scoliosis, and looking into details like how does your back go and everything else, how do you look like, how does it make you feel, how can you sit and stand, and all of these details is gonna be a big thing. But for you, it's like within yourself, as a consciousness, in previous lives, you have been storing a lot of information. It's like, think of Andrew Bartzis, the Galactic historian. He has experienced tons of lives and has gathered tons of experience, learning and constantly gathering so that he could have sort of like broad image of what's going on in the universe, the history of it all of the events and people and everything that has happened, everything that everyone has said, and he has the records. He knows it all. Well, it's similar for you. It's on a whole different context. I wouldn't say it's more like physical universe. I would go fourth or fifth dimension, Fifth dimension seems more like it on the meter. And it's more like on a higher scale, let's say this whole war in heaven, right? So we have a lot of beings fighting each other, there's a lot of things going on, and like has to do with people being forced or trapped, or there's a lot of mechanisms involved over there in the fifth dimension that end up with people being trapped here in the physical universe. As in, think of, I don't know, like being in a desert and you see the mirage, right? And you're just like, oh, wow, like it seems like oasis and I can get there and I'm gonna get some water, and you have hallucinations and stuff. But for a moment, like you see a nice picture and then it gets kind of foggy, and as you go through, it disappears. Where it's very similar mechanisms over there, where if people go to that space, where it's like people are just like flying or using their tech or whatever, or it's a whole spaceship, that is like a portal that will get people from fifth dimension into three dimension. Is just like getting people forcefully trapped and sort of like just like redirected in other locations. And you are not really involved in war physically, as in you're not there shooting people, navigating, and anything else, but you have the knowledge. What kind of groups are being involved? What are they doing? Why are they doing this? And you're standing in more of a neutral position. You're not with the good people, you're not with the bad people. You're just sort of like gathering all this information, which allows you to sort of like access more of it all. If you were playing with the good guys, for example, you couldn't learn as much about reptilians and Dracos and Mantis and Abraxas and humans and other beings out there, because you'd be attacked and you can't access certain information and they're constantly hiding things. But since you're playing neutral, from your part, you're just gonna sort of be like a point of view, like a camera that records all of the events there, and you're gathering it all up. So you're not picking sides, but you're just sort of like, okay, everything that's going on here, we're gonna see all of it, every single detail. And it's like stored within you. Like think of the Akashic Records. All of these events over there, you have it. So it's like within you, as a being, you have this mechanism of just storing information. And it's all within you, right? So there's like this whole weight, everything over here. You constantly have this urge to pick up and keep it there. And with that, it's like your nature. I'm gonna see, understand, and it's gonna be stay there. It's like you take it, information or the event or the words, and you're gonna store it there. It's like you have a massive storage box. And I'm doing my best trying to explain what's going on in English. It's more like I just see the image, I see the events, I see what's going on, and I'm like, how do I say it in words and like try to explain what's going on? But hopefully you sort of understand that, or maybe someone in the comments can like, okay, I'm just gonna translate what Aquila said. Rich does a good job with that. But yeah, with that, it creates a nature of your beingness that you're constantly taking in things. You're constantly taking in things and storing it within yourself. And when you get here on Earth, and even before coming here, the physical universe, the 3D, all of these events, the feelings, you're naturally recording it. So being here on Earth, like one thing is, yeah, it's toxic for everyone, right? But another stuff is like, you just gather more of that to yourself. You're being an empath, so you meet people, they have their own feelings, they have their own case. You don't have to really engage with them. You can go into a store, like you're gonna get some milk, eggs, and all this stuff, just buy things for yourself or your family, and you're gonna go do whatever you wanna do. But being in that space, you're constantly recording everything. You're watching what's going on and constantly taking it in. So if you end up seeing people not feeling too good, if they don't really fit your standards with maybe you have certain beliefs about how the world should be, and you see the masses saying they're not acting that way and sort of aggravates you, and then people around you anxious, depressed, scared, worried, fearful, and they're having all this negativity and carrying so much weight, and even though they're trying their best in life, some of them, like it's still a lot of this harshness. They have entities and everything else. You are seeing all of it, taking it in. So it's kind of like the storage box, or like you're like a sponge, collecting all of these emotions, all of these feelings, constantly storing it within. And it's like that experience with ayahuasca, it sort of like destroys that layer that you weren't able to perceive. if you were sort of blocking it out with your consciousness, like, yeah, I'm just like, whatever. Now it's more like open. The door is shattered and it's like really sinking in within you. And if you had something like a mechanism that would keep it all shut, now it's open and it's within your body. And it's like this massive energy that cramps up your personal space. You have this little much of yourself and everything else was filled with other stuff. And it's not yours. Like, you're constantly picking up other people's feelings, what they do, the events in the world, and you might be sensitive to it or you might just see it, but it's all like being picked up because of your nature of recording the reality and keeping the records of what's going on, the Akashic records and all this stuff. And with it all, it's like it leaves you no breathing room. It leaves you no personal space. It leaves you no energy space. And if we as people would have the energy bubble, so think of, okay, this is you, and you have this bubble around yourself, and you have your space. It's like someone gets close to you, and you might not see them, but you're gonna feel them. You're gonna pick up like, hey, what's up? Well, yours is super cramped. And it's like having no space means you're being pushed, you're being cramped, you have to sort of deform to allow all of that stuff to fit in. And not being able to purge out even through the ayahuasca, I don't know the correlations, but part of it is like you can't get it out. So you access all this stuff, you're picking it up, your body energetically, you feel it, and all of a sudden you have no space for yourself, you're being cramped up and, you know, like crashed and limited and squeezed and all this stuff. Like, that's the best way I can probably say. And with all of this, if you don't clean your space spiritually or do kind of work, you know, it's like gonna really affect you. So with that, like, you know, like, these are just a few things I'm picking up so far. And solutions, what can you do with that? Well, I would focus on, like, things you feel in life. Energetically, how do you feel? Like, for example, exhausted, tired, maybe it's like there's a lot of heavy load, like, you know, no matter how hard you're trying to do your best, it feels like you have this massive weight that you're carrying. And it's just gonna be there. Like, it's other people's stuff that you have to pick up, and, you know, like, it can be counted in energy units, like, you know, like, really like a thing. And with that, it's really good if you can identify these things. Like, for example, you know, you go somewhere and as a sponge, you pick up all the stuff, you're sucking it all up, but you never squeeze that stuff out and it stays within. And you have to learn to notice, like, okay, what shouldn't be my space? Feeling the exhaustion, feeling tiredness, you know, my back is pretty messed up. My body's not acting the way it's supposed to be, feeling like I have no space. You have to identify those little negativities or things that make your life harder. Like, we don't have to blame it all on others. It's just like whatever you pick up is going to be double the weight. It's going to be sort of like amplified. And if you can sort of like, okay, I'm seeing what's going on. And all this like laziness, if you can just identify, put a label in for that for yourself so that you would know what to target exactly. Then a lot of techniques, and for me, like, I do this, like, I'm telling in a lot of my videos, but I just like watch a ritual for myself. And let's say every day or every few days when I'm taking a shower, you know, like, I'm just gonna use the water, and like this water will wash off everything that I don't need in my space. So all the negativity, any leftover emotions, anything I pick up from people that shouldn't be there is just gonna be washed off. And let's say I would do a session and I recall people's past lives, and it's like really heavy loaded. There's a lot of terrible stuff that happens, and I'm experiencing it firsthand, and it's like, boy, sometimes it's too overwhelming. So after a session, you know, taking a shower to wash it all off, it just helps me. But that's my thing. It works for me. For example, when I'm around my grandpa, right, like, he loves fire. And then I was like, you know, like, okay, well, you can be next to fire if you like that. Even like light up the candle and let this fire burn off all the bad things in your life that are there, the energetically, like, negativities, thoughts, and all the stuff. Like, little things, like your own white magic or whatever you want to use. Soul contract removal. I would really focus on those phrases you might repeat in your life. And let's say feeling like you have no space, feeling like you have to fit in, like, in society, but fitting in your own body as well. Or, like, you know, like, you're trying to, like, your body is deforming because of scoliosis, and like, you're just like trying to fit in the best way you can. Feeling stuck, feeling like you can't get out, or like, you know, you can't go back. A lot of these might be even from past lives and the traumas you've experienced there, so it will be part of it. Entities and stuff. You can literally imagine or like tell like there's a soul construct thing, and the step 4 is, call and ask help from the galactic vacuum, and it's just basically an energy vortex that will suck off anything from your space that you don't need. And so think of this vortex of energy clearing out your space. Literally, you have to imagine your own energy bubble. It's your own space. And right now, it's really limited. It's very tight. So you have to sort of think of that bubble and expand it. Expand it beyond your physical body, beyond your room, make it bigger than the planet, and just keep on expanding so that you would have your own personal space. And with that, you just imagine, like, let's say you have fire, you have your machine gun, whatever kind of guns or whatever kind of tools you want to use to clear that space. Think of having an eraser and anything that's within me that shouldn't be there, anything that I'm picking up from others, their emotions, their feelings, their beliefs, anything that makes their life more miserable, I'm getting it out of my space. I don't need that stuff. So you have to give yourself those tools and the awareness, like, hey, I'm picking stuff up from others constantly, and I'm storing it within myself. That would be a thing. Your whole ayahuasca experience with, I was the only one that didn't purge. It stayed within me. These would be the commands too. I can't purge. I can't get it out. It's stuck within me. And I'm the only one that has that kind of thing. Your own repetitive story is your own programming as well. You can't get it out. I didn't purge. So it's like you have a cork within you. It's all stuck. It's still there. And, having the intention, for example, okay, here it is, for example, my energy bubble with all the crap in me, and I'm just going to pull that cork out and let all of this, just go to get out. And you just sort of, think of it, imagine it, use your physical body motion just to, open it up. Think of a sponge of your, your whole body that is constantly sucking it all in, and just squeeze it out. Have the intention to clean it all out. This will be just, a few things to try out. There's a whole lot more, because if we were to go deeper, what kind of scoliosis do you have? How does it look like? What do you feel within your own body, your own thinking, repetitive phrases, the events in life? There's going to be the story you tell yourself about everything that happened since ayahuasca, whatever other people told you, however you see yourself, it's all part of the whole thing. So if, let's say next time maybe we might have more information, or if you feel okay, this gives you some ideas, you can sort of pick up from there and ask yourself more questions, with the release techniques or whatever. A lot of questions like what might be some of the reasons for having scoliosis, and for yourself dig deeper within, find out whatever. But hopefully these things gives you more ideas, or at least some insights. And yeah, I guess that's about it for now. But hey people, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.